As part of our series on accessibility in tabletop gaming, we're always looking for products created by you to help yourself or others. Now, if you aren't familiar with dyslexia, this Spider-Man meme may help explain it. Now, it's a joke, obviously, but it helps illustrate how dyslexics have a hard time distinguishing similar-looking letters from one another. Now, take a look at this. It's a new character sheet for D&D. It looks remarkably different than your everyday sheet, and there's more shapes and even a splash of color or two. This was a project by two online friends, Alex and Keith. Alex has dyslexia, and the sheet helps them rely on other visual cues when everyday fonts are just a bit of a muddle. Earlier, I spoke with Alex and Keith to learn more about the disorder and why one sheet just won't fit all. Let's start off by talking about why we made these character sheets. Who was the sheet originally made for?
It was made for me.
Yeah, that'd be for Gordy.
Pretty much I was struggling really hard with the game. I've always struggled, and I just happened to be over with my laptop, and Keith suggested we make me a sheet since I had Photoshop.
Yeah, it kind of came down to I was DMing, and I had no quarrel with trying to just adjust things if they had problems with specific areas or something small, just to help them understand, to grasp where things were more efficiently, as well as I've always had little thoughts of you could change this, take that out, move that type thing. So it kind of just came around.
How long did it take to come up with the final layout for the sheet? How did you come to the one that you're using right now?
I want to say 12 hours working with Keith, and I want to say 4 to 6 extra hours on my own because I couldn't sleep that night. It was a lot because something that a lot of people don't realize is that every single text on that is an individual layer, so every single word is individual.
Other than Photoshop, what utilities are you all using to make these sheets?
I honestly just Photoshop. I have custom brushes, and we were lucky enough to get permission from another Reddit user named Lookpack to use his assets, and those were basically what we used to format the whole sheet.
Yeah, his assets were basically any of the icons you see that aren't originally from the D&D sheet. Those are all him.
Yeah, the muscle arm, the hearts, all that was thankfully from him.
And then I went, hey, why don't we post these on Reddit? Like you went through all this trouble making them, that maybe someone else can benefit from them.
Yeah, it took you like 3 hours to convince me to post it.
Yeah. And of course, before he posted, I messaged Luckpack and said, hey, do you mind? Yeah, totally, 100%.
Is it important that there are colors used in this? I see color coordination between a certain stat and a certain other portion. Are those matching colors deliberate?
Yes. Not for me, though. Key's partner, T, actually requested that to help them. I believe it was to remember as well as to quickly find the stat they needed. Is that correct?
Yeah. The color coordination is between the ability and the stat that ability uses. The stat and the ability that stat uses. Pardon me.
People have been submitting other languages. I noticed that they've been doing them only in black and white, so I've been trying to convert it to the colors.
Swinging back to Luckpack for a moment, shapes are another visible deviation from your standard character sheet. Are shapes another widely used technique to help people with dyslexia?
To be quite honest, neither of us are experts. We've solely made it based on my own experiences and what helped me. And over the years, I realized that shapes really helped me for when trying to find a certain stat. My brain does a picture. It might be because I'm also an artist, but pictures are always easier for me to associate with. It's like, okay, I need strength. That's the flexing arm. Or my health is the heart. It's just a lot easier for me personally to associate something with a photo.
Yeah, that's where a lot of this came from. Is not necessarily because as Gordy said, neither of us claim in any way, shape, or form to be experts on this. It was we made this to help Gordy because as a DM, and I know my one of our other DMs has commented they're very happy because it's helped to cut through the clerical work of Dungeons and Dragons, was I believe her exact wording. It's just to help Gordy, and then I kind of stopped and went, well, we put a ton of work in this. There's no reason other people couldn't benefit from it. So I know Gordy and I have talked a lot about. We see a lot of people talking about the fonts and this, that, and the other. You should change this. This helps me more, and I'm sure it does. We made it for Gordy. We don't claim that this is perfect for everyone.
We did make an editable version because people were requesting a lot of changes. It's like, if you want, here you go. Because it's a lot of work and time I sadly don't have to do it myself.
Gotcha. It does sound like it would be a challenge to make a sheet for dyslexics that is universal. You said that you did yours based on your personal experience. Has there been feedback about what other things you could do to help certain other people?
Honestly, it's just been fonts. For me personally, the common font people kept suggesting was Open Dyslexia, which does not work for me. Comic Sans does for me and a lot of people, but I also have very moderate dyslexia. We did have somebody who was a severe dyslexic mention that Comic Sans is horrible for them because it's just so clunky. So that's why it's so hard to make a universal one.
And also again, why you offer an editable version, so that
that was going to be my put is, of course, and we put that out there very specifically. If anyone's watching this, please edit it, do what you need to make it work for you. That's kind of the whole point.
Personally, do not know anyone who has told me that they are dyslexic, and what interested me most was this thing about the fonts. People who don't have problems with reading don't think that maybe the typeface is a possible solution to helping someone read. What specifically is it about the fonts that are helping?
I struggle with fonts where a lot of the letters look the same. For example, in the base font for Discord, for example, M's, N's look exactly the same to me. E's and A's, and B's and D's. Because there's very minute differences, but with Comic Sans, every letter is designed to be different. Like, you can't confuse the two.
Don't forget as well, the other big one is capital. Using capital letters tends to help.
Do you both have dyslexia, or is it just Alex?
No. It's just me. Keith, he doesn't have anything like that. It's just me and a couple other people that he happens to DM with. I was shocked how many people in the group.
Yeah, that was one of the other reasons we looked at making it and looked at sharing it so much, is because I play with my significant other does have dyslexia. I know at least one other player that I play with has dyslexia. The DM of one of my other games has very mild dyslexia. We make jokes that I'm the token neurotypical one.
Yeah.
That's cool that you had all that reason to start this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it also put into perspective on how, and I had this conversation with somebody on how, as much as I like D&D, it is not learning disability friendly. To be quite honest, especially the printed books. I've looked at Keith's books, and it's like, how? Wait, huh?
Oh, the D&D books themselves, yeah.
It's actually a pretty font, I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's actually, a lot of this has helped put, because I've said it before, I said it in a couple different interviews, things and stuff I've written about. I think that D&D as a whole is something that I like to hope there's as little a gate or wall between it as possible. And I personally use it as something to try and explore concepts and things that I don't personally have, things I've never dealt with, things and ideologies that I don't personally have. And a lot of this is actually, and it's helped me a lot with that, but this has actually helped me see a lot of things I'd never even considered at all.
Are there plans to further fine-tune the sheet, or are you moving on to some other document or something else to help with dyslexia?
We've been making small tweaks here and there when we realized that we screwed up on something, including like spelling errors that we missed that no one else caught, or just like a good suggestion. Or, as for example, we made the edit of making them editable, so people have been translating and just working on them themselves.
Yeah, we've been talking. I have been playing with a couple friends trying to learn a little bit more about Pathfinder in hopes that we can Pathfinder Second Ed in hopes that we might be able to do a version of that. It's quite the beast. I've got a few ideas here and there, but again, as I've talked with Gordy about, I'm not the dyslexic one, so I've got ideas on what I know, but it is complicated. Like I said, the decision tree, which is very heavily tailored to Gordy's characters, but not super complicated to make, and I want to write something about that with ours as examples, because I find that helps Gordy a lot with figuring out where they're going, especially Gordy does sharpshooter feat, so especially when I think Gordy was you were the one who brought it up, Gordy, that it can really help. Do you want to use sharpshooter? Well, there are times when some people go nonverbal. Gordy has trouble when everyone's talking, maybe if English isn't your first language, something like that. And so, well, wait a minute, Gordy rolled, did they use sharpshooter? And we look, well, they've got a little washer they put on it. Well, it's on the side that says sharpshooter, yes or no. It's on yes, so we're going to go with yes.
Especially for me, I respond well to a physical thing. So we have an initiative tracker we made to work for my attacks. So I can keep track of my attacks. Or like just having a physical paper that says, here's all my options, is so much better than trusting my brain.
Yeah, and that was the other one I was going to mention. We did, like, they've got those initiative trackers, and Gordy and I sat down for a day and made a bunch. And I use one as an initiative tracker, but we also have attacks 1 through 8 and then action surge on one. So you've got attacks that and we can separate them that way, so that Gordy can also keep track of whether or not they've attacked, how many they've done. Do you want to use action surge this turn? Yada, yada, yada.
That's awesome. And you all need to be commended for it. It's absolutely wonderful.
I'm still waiting to wake up from this dream.
Yeah, Gordy keeps like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I'm like, we help people, Gordy. This is what happens sometimes.
It was just a thing to make me play the game. I wasn't expecting it to get thousands of downloads.